This right here is possibly one of the biggest planes that I've actually built in Stormworks, and of course it is a seaplane, which is pretty cool, but the problem is we're going to be building something way bigger than this thing today. So let's go ahead and jump straight into it, shall we? Just to let you guys know before we actually start with this build, I am currently using Echo's bigger workbenches, which gives us much bigger workbenches to build bigger planes and I guess bigger vehicles in. So yeah, just a heads up. So let's go ahead and start with the nose really quickly. We're actually going to add maybe 2 of these guys, just like this. There we go. We're then going to move on to maybe 1 or 2 of these, possibly just 2. And then we're going to shove 1 of these guys on there, just like that. And then I guess we'll move on to a few of these. I'll probably do 2. There we go. Alright, so that's sort of the nose. There we go. We're then going to go to the nose over here as well. I'm going to go ahead and chuck this guy on here. We'll do 1 of those. In fact, maybe we'll do 2. And then we'll actually move on to... Is that too steep? Yeah, so we should probably do this first. 1 of those. 2 of these. 1, 2. There we go. And then we'll go back into a few of these. So 1, 2, 3. Awesome. We'll jump into 2 of these guys again. 1, 2. And then maybe like 1 of these. There we go. So that's the nose. Sort of done. Let's go and extend this guy backwards to about... Well, I don't know. Maybe like just about halfway, which is about here. There we go. And then I'm gonna have to like step it up. This is crazy how big this aircraft actually is. So we're gonna go ahead and introduce the first step right here. We're gonna go with 2 of these guys. I'm then gonna go backwards with this. We're gonna go upwards maybe 2. And then we'll add another step into there. 1, 2. And then from there, we're actually gonna go back to the end. Although actually 2 isn't enough. 2 is definitely not enough. So zoom this backwards by a bunch. There we go. Shove 2 into there now. 1, 2. Excellent. And then step it up. 1, 2, 3. Actually, wait. 1, 2. Yeah, just like that. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and do this all the way up to the back. So delete these guys. Up to there. We're going to shove this guy on right here. And I'm going to do this. And this plane might be a little bit bigger than I was expecting. At the very end, we're going to go ahead and round it over a bit. So just do like a few of those guys, turn it into 1 of these, do this, there we go. And then I guess we're just going to go ahead and shove it up from there. Okay, match that up with there, that's pretty good. Alright, there's the nose cone that I was thinking about. It looks a little bit stubby to me, but honestly, overall, it totally works. What I need to do now is try and figure out how to make a cockpit fit onto this thing, and then we can build the rest of the body. Underneath, you can see that it is going to be relatively flat on the bottom, although I can actually make that angled if I wanted to. I'm not sure right now, but let me go ahead and continue building backwards, and I'll get back to you guys once we're about this point right here. And wapow! There we go. So we've obviously got ourselves a pretty tiny cockpit right there in the center, but the rest of the aircraft is pretty large. Now, up here on the top, I do want to add some windows, because I think that'd be really nice. I want to add some windows across this deck right here as well, and hopefully we can have a double-decker plane. Originally, I actually wanted 3 decks, and we might have like a tiny deck underneath for maybe servicing or something like that. But so far, I think this looks really, really cool. I also need to know where the wings are going to go, and I'm thinking we mount them somewhere around here. Let's do it then. I've deleted a little hole right here so that we can start building the actual wings. So, shove this guy on here first. Actually, no. We're going to go with this guy first. There we go. And we'll chuck that guy on there like that. We're then going to go with these guys on here, which we can chuck another one of those right there like this. We can then sort of box that in. There we go. And build it across to the back edge. Yes. Now, I don't know how far back this is going to go. I'm thinking actually really big, so we can have like a really large surface area on the wings. So let's go ahead and build it backwards to at least here, I guess? That is huge. That is actually ginormous. But yes, that is where our wings are going to be built out to. We're going to go ahead and chuck this guy on here as well. That's good. And essentially, I'm just going to go ahead and box this edge off. Yeah, I know it might not really fit very well doing that, but I don't know. Overall, I think it's going to work out really nice for us. Let's go ahead and chuck these guys on here, going backwards. There we go. And that's all right. Yeah. All right, there we go. I've added a little piece onto here. We're going to go ahead and chuck this guy on the top really quickly. And we're going to go ahead and chuck one of these guys Possibly on top of there like this. There we go. So that's good. All right, awesome. From there, we're going to go ahead and build it backwards a lot. There we go. And we're going to do a very similar thing on the bottom, although it's just going to go straight back after this, I think. I don't know, is that a good idea? Or is it a bad idea? I have no idea. Just chuck this on here for now. Chuck it all the way to the back edge. That's okay. Obviously, I need to shape this, but that's all right for now. There we go. All right, so it's shaped a little bit. As you guys can see, it's slowly going backwards, and it's actually slowly going forwards as well. I might need to make this elongated a little bit more. In terms of like the base of the wing, and I might actually have it come backwards slightly as well. But for now, that looks pretty good. I've left this gap right here for the engine. We're going to go across one more, and we're going to have another engine there. And we're going to go across one more, and we're going to have another engine there. I want 3 engines on each wing. Hopefully, being enough to actually power this thing into the air, because it's going to be pretty big. I just don't think they are quite right, and it's really annoying. I feel like they need to be maybe all of this back area right here. I need it to be moved backwards another few blocks just to make the wings even bigger, which seems crazy, but I think that's what we need to do. So we'll have it go backwards to like maybe there instead, so that the wingspan can actually match that of the length of the plane, which makes more sense than this. That's it, max wing length right there. I believe it's around 55 meters in wing length. That seems pretty good to me. The length of the actual boat itself is around 50, so yeah, I feel like that's about the right size. It's also huge, but I am thinking they do look a little bit stubby at this point. Maybe I do move these a little bit further forwards, or we actually have the wings be a little bit longer. I'm not sure. There we go, guys. What do we think of this? This is a full fuselage built up, as you can see, and obviously the wings built up as well. I think so far that looks pretty good. The thing is, though, it is currently missing a tail wing, so that's what we're going to add next. And we're going to add it in a way that actually adds the vertical stabilizers over to the sides instead of in the center. Let's get that built. I don't actually know how I want to go about doing this, but I know that it needs to be done. So let's go ahead and add this guy to the back end right there. We're then going to go to the front, and we're going to add one of these guys onto here like this. I then think that we can just build those guys together, just like that, and then we can start building some actual wings on here. So we'll start with these guys, and send those out to the sides. They're going to be quite large. In fact, let's go out by like 10. There we go. We're then going to go backwards by like 1, and then we'll go out by maybe 5. Maybe 7 actually. There we go. Something like that. I know that looks awful to begin with, but don't worry. It will get better. Hopefully. Right, so we shove these guys on the back end, and on the back of that, we go with these guys right here like this. On the underside, we're just going to go ahead and send these guys straight out like so, and we'll build all of this together like this. Aha! Nicely done. Okay, so from there, we're just going to go ahead and build these guys forwards. I'm going to chuck this on the underside, like that, and we're going to go backwards 1, and we're going to chuck that there like that. Okay, I think I'm going to have to do a similar thing here, though, and that's a problem. It's a little bit of a problem. There we go. Alright, shove this guy in here, closing the gap. We're going to close the end for now as well, and then I think we can start adding the vertical stabilizers. They don't seem big enough, though. Who knows? Maybe it'll be good enough, maybe it won't. Let's just go ahead and extend this guy into the air by quite a bit. There we go, we'll do that. On the underside, we're going to go ahead and zoom it downwards as well, so we'll go down by the same amount, but then we'll delete 1. That seems good. And we're just going to go ahead and attach all that together. We'll attach all this together, at least up to there, and we're going to go ahead and do this, going backwards. Okie dokie. Yep. We're then going to go to the other side of this, and we're going to do the same thing again. So, check this guy on the top and do this to the bottom. Grab one of those, shove it on there like that. That's all good. We're going to go from here all the way down to there, and we're going to do this. Bam! Okay, yeah, I feel like that actually looks quite good. It does seem a little bit too far in, though. I feel like it needs to be extended a bit. I think it might be time to see if it floats for real. That one is static, so it doesn't really count, but this one is not, and she actually sits in the water quite nicely. The thing is, though, I think I need it to be pointing further down. So, we are going to add a little bit of a floaty back here somewhere, very close to the bottom, somewhere around here, that pokes out a little bit that we can use as, A, a flotation device, and B, possibly a way of getting in and out of the aircraft. That looks pretty good, I think anyway. I'm pretty sure this looks quite nice, at least to me. So what we have is this underneath the water. I feel like that needs to not be under the water is sort of the issue here. I don't know whether to raise it up. In fact, I probably will. Let's raise these guys upwards to about here instead of in the bottom, and I think that'll look much nicer. And also possibly have them out of the water as well, which would be great. And there we go. They're a much nicer shape than they were before, and they are now out of the water, which means that it actually floats really nicely. This is actually set up quite good. What we need to do now is obviously add some engines. There's going to be one there, and one there. And we're going to have to add fuel, we're going to have to add windows, passenger bits, stuff like that, and just make this thing look nicer. So, what I'm going to do right now is actually add a door into there, and I'm going to start trying to add some windows around this thing to hopefully make it look quite nice. Okay, so we need a door, and I think I want it to go onto the second level. So, this is going to be interesting. Let's go to doors really quickly, shove one of these guys in the bottom like this, and from there, we're going to go across to here like that. There we go. What I then want to do is actually go on the outside and see how high that is. It's actually up to there. Alright, that's interesting. So the door, I want to go here, I believe. There we go. So delete all of these guys. Grab ourselves a door and chuck it on there just like this, I guess. There we go. Alright, awesome. I know it's a bit high, but that's actually sort of on purpose. Yeah. Kind of on purpose, because otherwise it would have to go down into the bottom, and I don't really want to do that. So we'll delete this guy, add a ladder, and we should be able to climb into the aircraft via that if we need to. Or, actually, maybe instead of a ladder, we could actually just go with some stairs. Yeah, some stairs might make more sense. So let's go ahead and add that to there. We're going to go ahead and add another piece to the underside of that. Oh, I don't know if this is going to work. And another piece to the underside of that. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it does look a little bit strange to have those there, especially when we're flying, but they kind of fit, so I think I'm going to keep them. The next thing I want to do is add some pipes, so let's go ahead and add these guys to here and up there as well. We're then going to go ahead and go to white and shove that onto there, and I guess we'll do this. Yeah, which means these guys are actually going to come down one. That's fine, right? I think that's fine. Shove that into there, shove it into there, and get ourselves a pipe. Go straight up the center, and that's all good. Yes. Okay, color-wise, I'm going to quickly add a few colors that are going to stay this way no matter how colorful the aircraft actually ends up getting. So those guys are going to look like this, that's fine. We're then going to add windows. Let's do that next. Alright, so if this is going to be an actual floor, let's go ahead and chuck it across to at least here. Obviously, we're going to have to go up to there, that's fine. And would I be able to fit an actual, like, another level into this? I can. I can actually fit a level a little bit higher. That's crazy. That is actually really crazy. Okay, so let's go ahead and send this backwards to back here. There we go. This is huge. This is actually way bigger than I ever expected it to be. Alright, very nice. So, let's start adding some windows. I think I'm gonna go with portholes, as if it's like a boat, and I think that'll be pretty good to me. So, let's go ahead and do them a little bit lower than they should be, and we're just gonna add a few of them as we go forwards. We'll leave a gap of 3 every time, and we'll just place these guys in every time as well, and eventually that should look pretty good. Alright, what do we have? Yeah, that looks awesome! Alright, we're going to send it backwards as well. Leave a gap of 2. Shove it into there. Leave a gap of 3. Shove it into here. And we can actually just keep this going backwards really far if we want to. But we'll see what happens. Keeping them evenly spaced is fine for now. But we might eventually change these guys out a little bit, because we're going to have to add like stairs inside and stuff like that. But for now, that looks decent. I suppose the lower level should actually try and have some as well, so I'm going to try and line them up with the top bits, if possible. And we're going to have a row right here as well. There we go. We're only going to build them backwards a little bit. We're not going to go all the way, so we'll do that. And then back here, I'm just going to have one underneath this window. Oh. Oh, it actually needs to go lower than that. So it would go here, but it would actually go down into it like this. That's kind of weird, but I'm kind of on board with it as well, which is really strange. But there we go. Shove that into there. Nah, I'm not on board with it. Let's get rid of that. No windows back there. Cool. I suppose the next windows need to go on as well, so we're going to delete these pieces. I'm going to try and line them up with the center of these windows. So one there, one here, and that's fine. Delete this one, and let's shove some windows directly into there. We're going to go with these guys, and they're going to be black. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. And then underneath each of those windows, we're just going to go and chuck these guys on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good. Nice. It still looks a little bit strange, but I think it's going to work out. There we go. We got windows at the back. We got windows at the front. I now need to actually shove in, I guess, some sort of level here as well. This is crazy. This is actually kind of crazy. I'm going to delete those guys. I'm going to fill in the roof, especially in the cockpit. There we go. I'm going to shove this guy onto the back of there like this. And I'm going to fill this piece in. It's kind of annoying to get rid of all of these extra bits that are on this thing, but that's fine. So, we need to come up with where the floor is going to go. And I believe the floor should actually go in right here. So, let's go ahead and build this across. There we go. We're going to do it all the way across to the front edge as well, obviously. There we go. And I guess we're going to send it all the way backwards too. Here we go. All the way backwards to at least here for now. I think we'll go further forwards as we go, maybe? Yeah, because we got loads of room back here. Let's just do this. And let's continue it backwards. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I mean, it feels weird, but it also feels like kind of right. Which might be bizarre. I don't know. Alright, delete that guy. Shove one of these in. Shove it down there as well. And I guess I want an actual door in here somewhere too. So, delete this guy. Shove this across. Let's get ourselves some doors. We are going to be using the sliding doors. Here we go. And I'll be putting this one in here just like this. There we go. That should be pretty central. And that works. Okay, so we got our cockpit sorted. We got all of our levels somewhat sorted as well. And that's pretty good. Yeah. I feel like it may be time for a little bit of color. A splash of color, that is. And I say a color, I don't really mean a color. We're just going to go ahead and add another bit of sort of gray to the bottom of this. And that is going to be good. So let's go ahead and shove this guy on here. I guess we're going to try and line it up nicely. So we're going to do this maybe. Yeah, from there. We'll go up this line. I guess then that means we have to go up this line, and that's okay. It's less pointy than I would want it to be, but I feel like that's alright. Yeah, let's zoom this backwards. Oh, I'm gonna have to go up to there, actually. That's quite high, though. That is quite high. Alright, do all of these guys as well for now. And then I'm gonna jug the bottom and hope for the best. Alright, just do this across the back end. Yep, connect all of these guys together. I definitely need it to come higher, so let's go ahead and do these guys as well. And then I guess zoom it back across this way. Okay. There's a lot of painting to do. So I guess let's just go ahead and get this bit done for now. And then we can see what we can do in a second. Alright, yep. Zoom all of that up there. And I'll jug in the rest. Yes, 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 this is working out very, very nicely. I did add some extra windows down here because I thought they would be nice. However, I might get rid of those, I'm not entirely sure. Also, there will be a bunch more changes to this thing very soon. But I think we should probably leave today's video here. If you guys want to see more of this thing, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see if I can actually do some more. Obviously, we're going to need some engines on here. We're going to need a rudder somewhere down there. And we're going to need to get this thing into the sky. I feel like the rear stabilizers might need to be a little bit larger as well, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. For now, I think this is pretty cool, and hopefully you guys too, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.